Good afternoon, folks. This is Steve A, and this is A Voice in the Desert, broadcasting from Chicago. I have several topics I'd like to discuss with you today, and one of it is going to be on relationships, another one is going to be on forgiveness, and the other one is being thankful on the holiday season. But before I get into that, I want to let's just focus on forgiveness. And as we are into the holiday season, things are tends to be very hectic with everybody. There's the busyness of the holiday season, but there's also a lot of people out there that are sometimes like me or like anybody else that is somewhat alone, is dealing with unforgiveness, or people are dealing with unforgiveness as such as you. So the question I have for you today is, have you ever been hurt by someone? Whether it be not necessarily physically, but maybe has there been a misunderstanding of some sort, or maybe somebody hurt your feelings, maybe somebody lied to you, and how did you handle that? How did you and 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 how did you handle that? Did you get angry? Did you lash out? And I know my experience with anger is that when somebody hurts me or lets me down, I tend to get very angry and I tend to lash out. But I've also learned that we also have to look to God's word and learn to forgive other people that have wronged you, because everybody out there we're all imperfect human beings, and being in this world and being on this earth, no matter where you are in life, whether you be in church or whether you be in the workplace or whether you're out there, the fact of life is you're going to get hurt by somebody at some point in your life, and you got to know how to handle it. Most importantly, you also have to learn how to handle conflict like an adult. And as one mentor told me that recently passed away, you should never let the small disagreements break you up. And I think that is something to live by. And so there's a verse in the Bible out of Revelation. It's out of 22, 1 through 5. And I'll read a little bit of it now. It says, Then the angel showed me a river with the water of life, clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb. It flowed down the center of the main street. On each side of the river grew a tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, with a fresh crop each month. The leaves were used for medicine to heal the nations. No longer will there be a curse upon anything, for the throne of God and the Lamb will be there, and his servants will worship him, and they will see his face, and his name will be written on their foreheads. And there will be no night there, no need for lamps or sun, for the Lord God will shine on them, and they will begin to reign forever and ever. And then the last verse is 6. Then the angel said to me, Everything you have heard and seen is trustworthy and true. The Lord God, who inspires his prophets, has sent his angel to tell his servants what will happen soon. So the message is Jesus is coming. So on forgiveness, it says, we all suffer from brokenness in our lives, in our relationship with God. And that is very true. And in our relationships with others, brokenness tends to weigh us down and can easily lead us back into our addictions. Recovery isn't complete until all the areas of brokenness are healed. God's ultimate plan for us and our world involves our complete healing. In Revelation, the Apostle John saw a vision of a new heaven and a new earth where this ultimate healing will take place. Then the angel showed me a river with the water of life, clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb. On each side of the river grew a tree of life. The leaves were used for medicine to heal the nations. Revelation 12, 1 through 2. Although we know that God will heal all things when he returns to rule, we still need to work toward healing the brokenness right now. Jesus taught, so if you are practicing a sacrifice at the altar in the temple, and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you, this is true, Leave your sacrifice there at the altar. Go and be reconciled to that person. Then come and offer your sacrifice to God. Matthew 5:23, 24. Giving and receiving forgiveness is an essential part of our present healing. This requires that we make peace with God within ourselves and with others whom we have alienated. Once we go through the process of making amends, we must keep our minds and hearts open to anyone we may have overlooked. God will often remind us of relationships that we need attention. When these come to mind, we should stop everything and go to those we have offended and seek to repair the damage. So that's a certainly good message on forgiveness, and I believe that as long as we're on this earth, we will always have to deal with hurt and pain as long as we're on this earth. And the only time we're not going to have to deal with it is that when we leave this earth and we end up in heaven, and when there'll be eternal peace, and there'll be no more pain, there'll be no more destruction, no more hurt, and we'll be with Jesus in life forever. But as I think it is important that while we're on this earth, we should do our best to live for God each and every day, and we should all learn to live for Him. And we also have to understand that if someone hurts us or someone lets us down, we just have to realize, that's life, that's part of life. And what I suggest you do is you learn to forgive that person. Now, however, that doesn't mean you're going to be their friend again. That doesn't mean you're ever going to trust them again. So that's another thing. But that's basically up to you and God. And I think that we all have to learn how to be cautious with who we're vulnerable to and who we give our heart to. So I think everything comes at a price, and we just have to be very careful with who we give our personal lives to. And so that's what we need to do. But I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk about the holiday season, and I want to talk about a little bit about my experience with the church and being thankful. And as you know, I've been with this ch- I've been with this church probably for more than a decade. And I do want to get a little bit of it into relationships. And there's a guy on the internet. If you really want to learn about relationships, I mean, this guy really hits the nail on the head. His name is Tim Flesher. He's a Canadian counselor and former pastor, and he helps people who suffer from like addiction and complex trauma. And he's got a lot of free resources and videos, and he teaches people about relationships, about how to heal, about how to start relationships, how to make friends, and all sorts of things about what is going on. And there's a video on there. It's called The Five Levels of Relationships. So let's see. There's five levels of relationships, and and they're all part of life, and it doesn't matter. The first one is called acquaintance. There is a casual friend. There is a close friend, and soulmate. In acquaintance, you're superficial, you're cliche. And when you become a casual friend, there's facts and stacks. When you get to the next level, there's close friend, my opinions and beliefs. Uh, then there's the soulmate, emotions, and total openness. I think it is important for at least for people who are in recovery or who don't have that many friends. I think it is important for you out there that is important if you only have acquaintances in your life, or maybe you meet them at work, or wherever. It is important that you have at least one friend or a mentor or somebody that you can begin to be more totally open with and more honest with, that you can share things with. Especially, it should be one that you truly trust, or one that knows you better than anybody. And it's at least with somebody that can keep you accountable, or somebody that knows you. And that is probably one of the most important things that you should have in relationships. But getting back to the churches, I would say that our churches today have become nothing more than social outlets. And regardless of all these denominations and doctrines that are out there, it's I could say without a doubt that very few of them, at least according to my friend James Carter and knowing by what I've discovered, very few of them are discipling people to become anything like what God or what Jesus promoted 2,000 years ago. And it seems a lot of it is just mainly just entertainment. And although and it's a lot of it is entertainment, it's more like a show. A lot of it is just it's a big social outlet. It's what I said before on many videos. I says it's skinny jeans and big screens. And there, a lot of them are pretty much the same. And although it's not all the churches, I'm not going to say it's all. I know there are some out there that are doing a really good job. But just like it is in the real world, there's a lot of people there. And it's like when you go into these places, you're being put in a room with a bunch of people that you virtually have nothing in common with, regardless of whether you're on the same path wherever you are in your spiritual journey, or whether you're still being put in with a bunch of people that you have virtually no chemistry with, and it's hard to build a traditional relationship. And if you get no more than an acquaintance, if it's just, well, you're just the only most, I would say that the vast, at least in my situation, most of the people, with the exception of a few, most of the people that I see at church, I just see them like once a week, and that's about it. I would say that since 2010, since 2010 when I started going, I probably made probably about two close friends in that small period of time. So I didn't haven't made a heck of a lot of friends there. And I didn't have a whole, but it took a lot of work to actually get those types of friendships. And I understand there's an element of amount of investment that goes along with being more than an acquaintance and becoming a casual friend and being a close friend. Everything that is out there, and it doesn't matter what relationship you're in, whether you're married or whether you have a spouse or whatever relationship you get into, everything is going to require sacrifice. It doesn't matter. It always is going to mean giving more of yourself. And I guess there's a lot of people out there that are not willing to give up more of themselves. Everything requires an investment, and everything comes at a cost. And that's just part of life. But the only way we're going to truly get to know people is by willing to take a chance on somebody. And that means reaching out to the people that know him. And that might mean being their friend. That might mean coming to their house. That might means talking to them more and being their friend. Instead of just hanging around only your cliques on Sunday morning. But it is important that I think as we move into the end of 2025, we desperately need to start doing something different in our churches. We need to start doing something different in our communities. And that's what A Voice Crying in the Desert Outreach is all about. So, with my friend James Carter. So, I would encourage anybody is just to go to his website, A Voice Crying in the Desert Outreach.com. Take a look and see what he's doing and what we're trying to do and what I'm trying to do here. I think it is all important for us to reach out to the community if we're going to reach people for Christ. It is going to take a little work. It is going to take a little bit of sacrifice. It is going to be more giving of yourself. And it is not going to be just, you're going to have to do more than just coming. It's going to be more than like living your faith out than not just on Sunday morning and just have coffee, music, and prayer. It's going to be more about getting out there and looking for the people that don't know him. And that's going to take a little work, and if you're in a church and you don't have people coming to your church and people are leaving and going somewhere else, maybe it's just time for you to do something different and not just continue to focus more on the same thing. And I'm not saying we should have more entertainment and more programs, but it's just doing something as a church, being more of a church that people want to come to, offering something that people want to come to than just religion and just doctrine or a lot of this man-made stuff that a lot of our churches are doing. So that's just what you got to do. But I wanted to talk about this holiday season. I wanted to express to everyone how thankful we are to live in the United States and how we are to, regardless of what political ideology or not, I don't care who you voted for. I really don't care about politics. I'm just very glad, very thankful that I live here in America, and I'm thankful for food. I'm thankful for shelter, and I'm thankful to be in the place that we live in. We live in the greatest country in the world, and despite our faults, this country isn't perfect. The way we were founded, there's been a lot of war, there was racism, there was a lot of things that we've had to overcome over the past 300 years, and we still do have a lot more work to do. But regardless of our struggles, or regardless of our dark past in our country, we still have a great country, and we still have a lot to be thankful for. I know I have a lot to be thankful for, but there are people around the world that are suffering. There are people in Africa right now. There are people Mozambique. There are children out there and people out there that are living on less than $1 a day. And it makes you wonder, what is their holidays going to be like? For example, if you were to go live in a country like Africa, whether it be Malawi, and let's say, I'll give you a good example. Let's say you're a mom with 3 or 4 kids and your baby is sick. And now, I'll just give you a good example. Let's say you live in America and you're a single mom out there, or you're divorced and you have 3 kids and you're divorced and your husband leaves you. Over here, you can get on food stamps. You can get on all sorts of programs. There's aid to with dependent children. You can get on food stamps. You can get public aid. There's organizations out there that can help you. There's food pantries available. There's churches. There's so much out there that you can get on. There's thousands of programs right here in America and all of these areas. And there's so many areas and so many ways that you can get help in this country, and you can get help and you can get the best health care. But if you were in a country like, say, you're in Mozambique or in Africa, your babies are sick, guess what? You're out on the street, your husband kicks you out. You have no place to live, you can't get health care. You may not even have a car to drive around. It may take you maybe an hour somewhere to get help. And so your baby is going to die. Your children are going to die. You might even die. How are you going to get food? And then the other thing is, um, can you get a job out there? Are jobs available? You might not be able to get a job. So you might not have a place to live. You might not be able to get food. You might not be able to get health care. And if you do work, maybe you're going to make less than $1 a day, or make 50 cents a day. And you might have to get down on your knees and pray, and maybe some missionary from the United States will come along and have to save you. but your life expectancy over there is you're very marginalized. You have absolutely nothing. You have no rights and you have nothing. So you don't have the same thing. You don't have the same thing over there. So when you come here, you got to be very grateful for what you have, and you can't be ungrateful. There's just, you can't be ungrateful. I think that we in America, we have a disadvantage. We're very spoiled people. We have it too good in this country. We have it probably better than most people around the world. We haven't even begun to understand what real suffering is, or what people around the world go through, or the persecution, or maybe being killed for your faith, or being in a country where you might die by terrorists. So what is it like to be in a country where you're making where you're going to die and you're making less than $1 a day? It's not fun at all. So I think it's very important for all of us to be very thankful for what we have, and to make sure to learn how to love other people and reach out to people to those who don't know him, and make sure we look for people who are in need and help them if we can. So this is Steve A with A Voice in the Desert. And there's a lot of goals that we need to focus on in 2026. I'm looking very forward to see what the Lord has in store for me. I know at least I was able to spend Christmas with two people, and I was to spend. I was very lucky to have a place to go for the holidays, and just it's just having a time of talking, sharing, and opening gifts. And I was very thankful for that. And I think you should be thankful too. So this is Steve A with A Voice in the Desert, and I will see you in the new year. And I want to take the opportunity to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And hopefully in the new year, I will have a new video. So hopefully everybody out there enjoys the wonderful vacation and the time they have with their families. And once again, I just want to remind everyone out there is to put God first in everything you say and do, and that remember that life is short and on this earth, and we have a big opportunity to learn how to love other people, regardless of whether we agree with them, or whether we agree with their lifestyle or what. We just have to learn how to love other people. So this is Steve A wishing you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Thank you and bye bye.